Hi, this is Edward with sonsofgod.com. It's June 25th, 2012. It's been a number of months since I've posted a video word like this, but Ann and I thought that it would be good to do that. We've had a number of emails over the last 6 months concerning the timeline that we've entered and what we see unfolding during this time. I know that since about October of 2011, the words began to come from those on the other side of the veil that are very much a part of what's unfolding right now, that we're extremely close. And that word has come perhaps 3 times as they've appeared to us, that we're very, very, very close, and to keep pushing. And so, when you say, what does it mean to keep pushing? Well, we understand that we're in the timeline of Revelation and the birthing of the man-child. This has been a long process. It's been going on for some time. It hasn't been a short timeline. The 9 months that you think of a child being in the womb, perhaps I couldn't even put a timeline on how long the preparation has gone on within the hearts of God's sons to bring them to the point of birth. But I know that in the last 20 to 30 years, the preparation has continued to go very deep. And I would liken that as being in the womb, in preparation, and as yet a hidden work before the eyes of men. However, coming into the last 18 months, we've seen a strong transition where the man-child is coming to birth. And what that tells me is that the preparation that has been necessary is completed, and God is bringing forth the birthing of the man-child as we've spoken and as we've read in the book of Revelation. Of course, we understand that with that there are a great deal of issues that are unfolding during the same time. For the jaws of the dragon continue to seek to devour the man-child, and there's really no way to explain the experience of that to anyone unless you are living that. And really, just as you cannot explain Christ to someone who has not experienced the Lord and literally been rebirthed or come alive to the whole realm of spirit, and that includes a great deal of Christianity, of what we know, that for the most part are really not alive to the Spirit, not aware of the moving of what God is doing during this time. So to explain to someone what it means to be in this process of the birthing of the man-child, one cannot explain that. It's something that you're living day in and day out. The jaws of the dragon are not an esoterical concept, but they are a living reality, because, as we've said in the book many times, a walk with God is not a mental concept. It is not something that you read and understand and accept or reject. A walk with God is something that you live and experience, and it's as real to you as the life, as the air that you breathe. To me, that is a walk with God. To think of the Scriptures, we love the Scriptures, we read the Scriptures, but to me the Scriptures in and of themselves are just printed words on a page, unless you begin to live those words. And then you can't, it becomes very difficult to explain any of that. The best that you can do is to impart from your spirit to the spirit of another the essence of what God is unfolding and revealing, and know that that impartation can come through. So we find ourselves in an accelerated timeline that is something that's very hard to put a finger down on, because it has to do with the preparation of the kings and priests. A young man or a man emailed me recently and said that he was aware of a document that he felt, well, not that he felt, but that was given to him, that the gentleman who wrote it felt very strongly that the second coming of the Lord, or whatever you want to call it, was on July 24th of 2012. And what did Ann and I think about that? I honestly cannot render an opinion about that. The Lord has not spoken to us of a specific date, but more so of a timeline or of a window that is opening up. But it's entirely predicated upon the preparation of the heart. And we've talked about that before. It's with the heart that man sees, not with the mind, not with the eyes. In many ways, you have three sets of eyes. You have the eyes of your physical, which sees. You have the eyes of your soul, which sees through the perceptions and the machinations of the soul. And you also have the eyes of your spirit. And so often in the New Testament, Paul says, may the eyes of your spirit be opened up. He wasn't talking about your physical eyes. And he wasn't talking about your mind, that you might understand. He was talking about your spirit being regenerated and your spirit seeing. Because if your spirit sees, it will translate down to the rest of you. And the soul and the physical, because we're a triune being. People in Christianity don't understand it. They think that they're going to get it going this other direction through the process of analysis and through the mind. But revelation does not happen that way. So going back to a timeline that we're in, what can I say? I can say that we have entered this timeline since the late part of 2011. And we've had numerous appearings of the Lord before that time to say that we're coming into this time. And yet I know that the greatest thing that we're dealing with is the preparation of the heart. And we're not talking about the coming of the Lord where every eye is going to see Him and they're going to mourn and weep and all of these various and sundry things that may happen. That is going to be somewhere down the road. But what we're talking about is the silent coming, the silent appearing, the parousia of the Lord within His people, the revealing, which goes hand in hand with the transformation or glorification of the believer. We're at the onset of this timeline, not at the end of it. And I'm not saying that this timeline is a long one. It doesn't necessarily have to be a long one. As the events in the earth begin to unfold like dominoes, we'll find many things begin to line up and happen. But what needs to happen first is the initial breakthrough of those whom God has called and prepared for this time. Now, you go into the book of Hebrews, and it talks about the cloud of witnesses. A day without us will not be made perfect. That's Hebrews 11, I believe. And you can say, okay, so now exactly what is the Spirit saying? Well, it's not that we're going to precede them, for they have died in the faith. They are on the other side. They're there waiting for the promise, for the completion. But it's not going to happen without us. So in effect, what I'm saying is that the breakthroughs that we're facing and that must happen are going to enable us in some way to turn and minister to those who have died in the faith, the cloud of witnesses, and bring them into the resurrected body, into the transformation and glorification that they embraced but from a distance, but have not yet walked in. And that is resting upon the shoulders of God's sons during this time, that there must be the initial breakthrough. And so I've had different ones write in and say, well, is this the time? And all I can say is, yes, this is the time. Does it mean that it's a carte blanche? That everyone's just going to enter right into the transformation or the change. I don't believe so. I believe, once again, it's based upon the preparation of the heart. And if ever there was anything at this time that we should be driving for and hungering after, it would be to see the completion of the work of the cross, that which within the soul has yet to die, that the Spirit may fully take over. And I do feel very strongly that this is where we are. And over the next several months, even during these summer months, I can't even put a finger on it. I can't define it, except to say, yes, this is where we are. And yes, it is all predicated upon the preparation of your heart, of my heart. I mean, how's the word go? Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. There's a preparation that God is completing. And He's been doing that for a long time within all of us. But I believe that we've come to a time where God is cutting it short, and He's going to complete that work within us. But it's our duty to hunger after, to reach into it and say, okay, Lord, complete this work, complete this preparation, because I know what's on the other side of this is the glorification, is the transformation, is the breakthrough that's going to see many things change on the face of the earth. So this is part one of about 4 parts that I'm going to address. We'll do another video here in a minute, and I want to talk about a couple of other issues that we see that we're facing right now.